All right. Call to order the regular meeting of the Township Committee for November 9th, 2015. In compliance with the Open Public Meeting Law, I wish to state that on November 6th, 2015, the notice of this meeting of the Upper Township Committee was posted on the official Township Bulletin Board, mailed to the Cape May County Gazette, the Atlantic City Press, the Ocean City Sentinel Ledger, the Herald Times, and filed with the Township Clerk. Tonight's meeting is being video recorded up until the closed session portion of this meeting and will be available on Upper Township TV Channel 97 and on the Upper Township website. I hereby direct that this announcement be made a part of the minutes of this meeting. And at this time, I'd like everybody to stand and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the roll, Barb.
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Coggins?
Here.
Mr. Pearson?
Here.
Mr. Young?
Here.
And Mayor Palumbo is absent this evening.
I extend the apologies of Mayor Palumbo, who couldn't be here tonight. And could I have the approval of the minutes from October 26, 2015, regular meeting, and closed session minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, Barb.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Barr?
Yes.
Motion is carried with 4 in favor.
Okay, we're going to go a little bit out of order here on our agenda, and we're going to skip right down to agenda item number 8, which is under the ordinances. And this is an ordinance in reference to Verizon and the utilities. Barb?
Ordinance number 13, public hearing and final adoption of ordinance number 13, 2015, an ordinance regulating the statutory authority of Verizon, New Jersey, its successors, and assigns to use the various public streets, roads, avenues, highways, and other public ways in the Township of Upper Cape May County, New Jersey, for its local and through lines and other communications facilities, prescribing the conditions thereof.
Thank you, Barb.
And this is the public hearing.
Okay, at this time we open up to the public. Anybody have any questions about the ordinance? Hearing none? We have a motion?
I move for adoption. Second.
Call the roll, Barb.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Barr?
Yes.
Motion is carried with 4 in favor, and the record will reflect that there were no public speakers.
Okay, the reason we moved it up was Mr. Boccieri is here. Mr. Boccieri, by all means, if you want to hang out and listen to what's going on in Upper, but meantime, you're free to leave. Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Take care. Have a good night. Have a safe drive. Okay, that being said, let's go to the report of the governing body. We'll start up with Barb.
I just have one announcement. I just want to remind everyone that township offices will be closed this Wednesday, November 11th, in observance of Veterans Day. And thank you to all of our veterans. And that's all I have this evening, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Young?
Nothing at this time. We do have a couple contract negotiations and a personnel matter for Wilson.
Thank you, sir. And Ms. Spiegel?
I have 2 things this evening. First of all, from our JIF coordinator, we have a dividend of $11,661 that she is recommending we put into our contingency fund. We have $9,600 in there right now. She's recommending that we put this additional $11,000 in there just as a reserve to be held. We can use it for any kind of attorneys' fees, for co-pays, the retro program, any fees for that, and that would be her recommendation. So I just need, if you so choose, to take her recommendation, then we just need a resolution at the next meeting for that.
Okay.
And that dividend is in receipt of, I guess, our best practices that we've had as far as risk management is concerned.
Correct.
Yeah.
So kudos to our township employees for conducting their business safely, and we get a little prize at the end of the year. So I guess we need a motion, Dan?
Yes, or just motion second to
Okay.
direct the resolution
Just
to that effect.
direct, yeah, just a direction, I think.
The motion is
for-
section, we'll put the resolution on the next meeting, but if the motion is second to do so would be good.
Okay.
I'll make it. I'll second.
Call the roll, Barb?
Okay, Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you.
And the other thing I have is for Mr. Dietrich, because he's not able to be here this evening, he asked me to bring up, he is requesting a letter of support for a grant application. There is a Jacques Cousteau program through Rutgers, and he's asking for a letter of support. They're asking for a letter of support, and then we would be a participant in this grant program that would improve our hazard mitigation planning here in Cape May County. It's no cost to the township. It's just a matter of letter of support, and then we would be, Upper Township would be included in part of this grant through
There's also
Rutgers.
neighboring municipalities that are involved in this also, I understand?
That's correct, yes,
Okay.
yes. They're asking all municipalities, I believe, in Cape May County.
I would make that a motion.
Second.
Call the roll, Barb?
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you. And Mr. Coggins?
I would like to point out a little bit of a safety hazard, it's a little bit of a hazardous condition along Stagecoach Road for pedestrians and bicyclists. With the leaf season upon us, there are numerous piles of leaves out there on the shoulder of the road, causing motorists to have to swerve, sometimes towards each other when there's either a pedestrian or a bicycle on both sides of the street. So just a notation to everyone to be a little bit cognizant of the fact and careful when you're out there on the road. And then that's followed up by a question for Public Works. And Ed, I don't want to be unfair to you because you're kind of here on your own tonight. but
Go ahead.
Are we on schedule for leaf collection to begin the week of 15th?
Yes, we are.
Terrific.
And to add to that, there was a nice article in the press, I don't know if anybody saw it in there, but it was in the editorial section, and there was a suggestion in there as far as, there was some environmental issues as far as using, leaf blowers and everything, but it did touch on some things that I think we need to start looking at in our township and maybe amend some of our ordinances as far as, keeping the leaves out of the roadway and tightening up on our schedule as far as the leaf collection itself. Number one, making it more, feasible and, organized in the picking up to be able to serve on fuel, of course, with the trucks and the manpower. So, that's like you said, John. There's some of the things that we're gonna have to look at, and above all, as you know, our township's 65 square miles. We got a lot of leaves out there, and I think Saturday night they all fell at one time. So,
You got that right?
yeah. So there's more to come. Anything else, John?
No, that was it, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Young?
Yes, sir. The Special Events Committee had a follow-up meeting for our Fall Festival, and overall, we figured we had somewhere around 1,500 people in and out of there during the course of the day. Unfortunately, it was kind of windy and cold, so some of the vendors didn't make out as well as we had hoped, but next year, we're going to move it probably about 2 weeks earlier to try to get a little better weather on that. We're still in the process of contemplating whether we're going to do a Christmas in the park or some kind of a Christmas bazaar type of thing. And we want to do it in the park, but we're going to need some big tents to do it and some major funding, so we'll have to see where that goes. Also, Amanda's Field, Ed and I have both been out there. The workers on that seem to have a renewed life and generated a lot of
Enthusiasm.
major enthusiasm and feeling great about what's going on right now. We're moving forward and streamlining the process. This past week, we went out and rented a big bulldozer, which took the work of about 5 pieces of equipment and five men. And we got probably about a month's worth of work done in 5 days. So if we go out there and look now, all the fields, all 4 of the 3 Little League fields and the Babe Ruth field are graded. Infields are in. Our next step will be getting the fencing up. And grass seed is in on the 2 other fields. That's coming up nicely, and on the 3rd field. So the next phase will be cutting in the T-ball fields. But the guys, it's nice to go out there and sit there and talk to them and see the smile on their face. And I didn't see the morale there before. Refreshment stand, that is up. The roof trusses are on. Little issue with the roof trusses, and it comes down to us having to buy in co-ops. The design came back wrong, so we've got to make some alterations to the truss itself to carry the outside wall support. The problem with the co-ops, when you buy them through there, is we don't know where they're coming from. And these were designed out of state. They require state architect or engineer seal on them. And the core that sits on the outside of the wall was not put where it should be. So when Paul gets back, we'll take care of that. But it's just something we need to look at. It's nice that we belong to the co-ops, but there's times when we need to go closer to home so we have some control over something. These came out of West Virginia. So it's not like you can get the factory there, and Home Depot doesn't make them. This is a manufacturer that subcontracts through the co-op, through Home Depot. So again, if we can find maybe some kind of a way that we could go closer to home on those issues. The fencing for there, since we do belong to the co-op, we can order the fencing through Home Depot. It's a 9-gauge wire like we wanted. All the diameters of the pipes are the same. So that's our next step now, is to order the rest of the fencing and get that up and running. So with God's help and some good weather, I think we're going to be right on line to be opened up for the spring. That's all I have.
Thanks, sir.
I'm sorry, except for porta potties. I know, I got the email. We need at least 2 out there, because we still have 3 weeks going.
Okay.
And the one by the refreshment stand, Barb, could really be moved down into that center parking lot. There's really no sense having one there. We had the bathrooms open. That porta potty is just sitting there, so if we can take that down more towards the little kids. I can't imagine a 5-year-old having to go and have to head from the front field all the way back to that refreshment stand to use it. So if we make sure we have 2 out there, that would suffice for now. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
that's it.
Mr. Peterson.
Okay. Good evening, gentlemen. On a personal note, I'd have a few thanks to go out there. First of all, many of you know that I've had the tragic loss of my grandson a few weeks ago. The community support has been overwhelming and greatly appreciated. Miss Karen Fitzpatrick and her family, as well as many other neighbors on Foxborough Road where my granddaughter lives, where my daughter lives, excuse me, they just pitched in and really have been helping Jennifer and her husband and family. We did a fundraiser last night at Lavari's. I want to thank Lavari's for hosting the fundraiser. And it was great. Great turnout from the public. Food was excellent, and the band Spiders was superb. I thought they were really good.
Phenomenal.
I want to thank the Ocean City High School, the Upper Township School System for the support that they've given us, Ocean City Crew, and my own church, the Holy Trinity Episcopal Church. They came through with meals, and the meals that we had were just out of this world. Thanks to the Township Committee for your support, and the employees of the Township. It's like I said, it's been overwhelming. And thanks to the Upper Township Emergency Service Organizations for their support during this process. It's just been a great thing, and I want to thank you all so much. If I missed somebody, I apologize. but it's been a tough few weeks. 11th November, Veterans Day, okay? We're gonna have a ceremony at Osprey Point, 10 o'clock, so I would invite you, the public, to attend that at Osprey Point at 10 o'clock. And also at the Cape County Cemetery at 2 p.m. for the normal county-wide celebration of Veterans Day, 2 p.m. at the county cemetery on the 11th. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I guess on behalf of Township Committee and the residents of Upper Township, General Pearson, we'd like to thank you and your brothers and sisters in uniform for your service to the country on Veterans Day. And it's a great event that they have down at Osprey Point, so anybody that has some time on their hands to go down there and listen to the speeches that are being given. And it's the memorial is, the Godfrey Memorial is down there, correct?
Yeah.
For Sergeant Godfrey.
Sergeant Godfrey.
That they put down there, so I know many times we hear on television, we watch the television shows and the commercials about our veterans and their service to our country. It's great to say things, but it's actions that count.
True.
And by all means, we all know a veteran out there. We all know a veteran that's out there in need, and especially during these holiday seasons. By all means, if you could take your time and extend your hand and help out a veteran who has served our country, by all means, it would be greatly appreciated. Community night, Wednesday the 11th at the elementary school. For those that are interested, it's a nice event. A lot of our business people from the association are there to advertise and give you some samples of their wares. So it's a nice evening out with the family and kids. And one last thing, bring to the attention, it was given to me by Mr. Dietrich. There was the bid was put out for the paving over at Amanda's Field, Town Hall, and Claims Lane, along with the fencing. And unfortunately, we had no bidders.
Yeah, that's an agenda item actually, but we can deal with it now if you want.
So,
you can bid it again, and if it's unsuccessful again, you can actually negotiate contracts. I had spoken to Barb, because Paul has a personal family matter. I haven't spoken to him at length. But one of the things I suggest is that we reach out to prospective bidders and find out why no bids were submitted, and then perhaps from that information determine whether or not we should rebid it and how.
I did speak with Paul today, and we will be rebidding. We will be removing the fencing portion of from the spec, because we did find out that we can use the National Co-op for the fencing. So it will just include the paving. It was confusing, the bid was confusing to some of the vendors. They thought that they
So
had
that's
to
already
include
been
the
done, that's
fencing.
good. So
That's
what we really should do is get authorization to rebid.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be
we need a
item
motion second to do that.
Item number 11 was on the
Right, so we're
under
just
new
taking out
business.
ordinance,
Okay,
that's okay.
all right.
One less thing to do when we get there.
There you go.
I'd like to make a
So we get
motion to
motion?
rebid the project for paving only.
Second.
Call the roll. Okay. Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes,
Motion is carried.
that's all I have to report, and may as well go right into the resolutions, Barb.
If I could, just 1 second. Jeff?
Yeah.
We spoke a little bit, having been where you are now. Yesterday showed the love and the character of this community. There's a lot of shoulders out here for you and your family.
Oh, yeah.
Take advantage of them, and we're all here for you. So I just want to let you know it's a long struggle.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 1, under resolutions, authorizing the disposal of personal property with no market value.
Motion to authorize.
Do I hear a second? Second?
Second.
Call the roll?
Okay. Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 2, authorizing the execution of an NJDP TWA 1 application, statements of consent form regarding 22 East Whittier Avenue in Strathmere, Block 845, Lot 9.
Move the resolution.
I'll second it.
Call the roll, Barb?
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 3, authorizing the purchase of an equipment trailer from the 2013 Capital Improvement Bond Ordinance in the amount of $19,405.
Motion to authorize?
Second.
Call the roll, Barb?
Okay. Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 4, resolution requesting approval of the Director of the Division of Local Government Services to establish a dedication by rider for the Upper Township Parking Offenses Education Act POAA Trust Fund pursuant to NJSA 39:4-139.9.
Move the resolution.
One question. Does this just affect the streets, or would it also affect anybody parking illegally in a Mansfield, or?
No, it's really a bookkeeping type entry.
Okay. I
I'll
just
let
wasn't
Barb
sure.
describe it.
Yeah, it's required, we receive very few of these POAA funds. It's all through the court. There's a certain kind of ticket that would attach a small portion of money to it. We did receive, one of those fees this year, so that's why we're setting up this account.
Okay.
We're required by the auditor to
It's
set
an
it up.
account that gets set up.
Yeah,
And
that's
we don't
fine.
have many parking violations,
We do
but
not.
they saw it when they were looking at the courts and said, you know what, you need to set up this account.
That's fine, just want to make sure.
No, we actually received funds that required us to set it up.
That's what I'm saying, we don't receive much, but that's how they pick
All
it
right,
up.
thanks,
Yeah.
Mark.
You have a motion?
I moved
Do we
it.
have a motion? Need a
Second.
Call the roll, Barb?
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 5, adopting revisions to the Township of Upper purchasing policy.
Motion to adopt?
Second.
Call the roll?
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Barr?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 6, budget transfers.
Motion approved?
Second.
Before you vote on this, I just want to bring to your attention, I see a typo in here. In the 2 column, the other insurance premiums should actually be $8,000, not $9,000. So that's a typo. I just want to, the 2 columns add up if the other insurance premiums is $8,000. So I just want to bring that to your attention before you vote.
Call the roll, Barb?
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 7, appointing Lauren Pashley as a part-time employee in the Office of the Municipal Court.
Move the resolution.
Second?
Call the roll?
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Okay,
Item number
ordinances, we
9.
went through number 8, now we're on 9. Okay.
Item number 9, public hearing and final adoption of ordinance number 14, 2015, an ordinance authorizing the sale of lands to wit, block 330, lots 33 and 34.
Move the resolution.
No.
Nope, we gotta open up to the public.
That's public hearing list?
Yes, this is the public hearing.
Wrong section.
This time we open it up to the public. Anybody have any
Wrong section.
questions? Hearing none? Your motion?
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Motion
Call the roll.
to adopt the
Adopt
ordinance.
the
To
ordinance.
adopt?
And the record will reflect that there are no public speakers. Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Barr?
Yes.
Motion is carried, 4 in favor.
Okay, we have a motion to pay the bills.
Item number 10 we have,
Number 10.
under new business.
Oh, sorry. Skipping ahead there. Thanks,
Well, you
Mark.
really want to go home early.
Boy.
Bid results for the license of space and, for the
Eagles
license
game was yesterday.
of space and ground on ground and tower at 1721 Mount Pleasant Road in Tuckahoe.
We received bids on October 27th for the cell tower, and we have 3 bids. It appears that, that they are, all in, the different heights that they're requesting are, we will be able to provide that, but, we're working on confirming that.
Maybe I could elaborate a little bit. Paul and I worked on this with the consultant. The way that, these are license agreements on our tower. Two of the bidders, successful bidders, were also, already on the tower from the expiration of the prior agreement. Paul probably has not had the opportunity to do the fine detailed review, to confirm that the heights are accurate in terms of the distances from each of the antennas that they chose. We suspect that they are, just because when you look at it, you see the draw at different heights. That would have to be confirmed, but once that's confirmed, we need to accept the bids. And with that qualification, actually, I'm gonna ask you to put two qualifications on it. That qualification, that technical confirmation occur through our engineering department. And then secondly, two of the antennas, lease expired. They have, obviously we've talked about this because of the contract negotiations, have made offers to pay them back due, assuming that they're gonna start with these new rents in December. I would like for their license agreements to have a provision in them that they will be paid, those amounts will be paid in due course, once the license agreement is signed. They preliminarily explained to me that they would do that and they accept that. So with those two qualifications, if we could put a resolution on the next meeting to accept these bids. I will point out, and I don't know if Barbara did the numbers, I roughly did the numbers compared to what previously we had been receiving in rents for the tower. With the addition of another antenna, and the increase in rent, we will be receiving approximately 3.5 times the amount of rent.
Good.
On the tower.
Good.
Fantastic.
And we'll have inflation adjustments as time goes on as well.
So from committee right now, you just need us to give you direction to,
I'd like a motion
A
to
motion? Okay.
prepare a resolution for the next meeting with those two qualifications.
Can I make a
Engineering
motion
review.
to prepare a resolution for the next meeting with the two provisions that Mr. Young had detailed to us? One for the heights of the tower, and the other one for past due payments from one of the vendors. And also, I'd like to say at this time that Mr. Young did a tremendous job for the township in negotiating this contract and putting this bid together with the help of a consultant that's got the township a guaranteed revenue stream of in excess of $70,000 for many years to come.
thank you, Mr. Young.
I'll second.
Okay.
Call the roll, Barb?
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Barr?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Okay, now we can do the,
Item number, Then we have the report of the, we have payment of bills.
yep, now we're down to the bills. So can I have a motion to pay the bills?
I hereby move that all claims submitted for payment at this meeting be approved and then incorporated into the full minutes of this meeting.
Second?
Second.
Call the roll, Barb?
Okay. Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
And then we have several reports of municipal departments that are on the website, from animal control, construction code, MUA report, and tax collector.
Motion to accept?
Second?
Second.
Call the roll, Barb?
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
And this brings us to the public comment section. Anybody that's wished to come before Township Committee, have anything on their mind? Any questions? By all means, the podium's yours. Okay, we made it to 8 o'clock. We're pretty quick here.
Don't tell Rich.
There you go.
All right.
No reflection.
All right. Hearing nothing, seeing nothing.
I hereby move that a resolution be incorporated into the minutes authorizing the Township Committee to enter into an executive session for the following matters pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. Contract negotiation for shared services agreement with Cape May County for use of equipment. Also shared service agreement for Cape May County for fleet maintenance and personnel. I also include in my motion the estimated time and circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public as follows. It is anticipated that the matters discussed in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Committee that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. With respect to employment and personnel matters, such discussions will be made public if and when formal action is taken or when the individuals involved consent that it can be made public. With respect to contract negotiations, such matters will be made public when negotiations have ceased and there's no longer a reason for confidentiality.
Second.
Call the roll, Barb?
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank everybody for coming tonight.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy the rest of your evening and have a safe ride home.